Hey class, we're going to go on to Thomas Jefferson today. So, to start off, we got to talk about his election. His election was a little strange. We have the two-party system going strong. John Adams wants to serve a second term. Thomas Jefferson wants to get in and change things a bit. You got your Federalist, your Democratic Republican going at it. So, the problem is Thomas Jefferson's winning, and he has a running mate with him named Aaron Burr. And no one wants Aaron Burr to become president necessarily. He's just the partner for Thomas Jefferson. With the two-party system and the way we do the Electoral College, though, the issue is everyone that voted for Thomas Jefferson used their second vote for Aaron Burr because they want both of them. Well, that means Aaron Burr and Thomas Jefferson get the same amount of votes, which means they tie in the Electoral College, which, as you know, is broken in the House of Representatives. Hope you knew that one. So, they need to break the tie. And John Adams is just out. He was in third. We don't have to worry about him. Now we're on to these two. So they go to vote for him. They get the vote for who they want. And to everybody's surprise, it's half and half. They tie in the House of Representatives. They didn't have 435 then. We got more people in it when more states were added. So it was a dead tie. So, in the Constitution, they break the tie. So what if they tie there? We don't know. So they vote again, and 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 they tie 36 times in a row. And finally, the most unexpected person steps in to save the day. That's Alexander Hamilton, an ardent Federalist. The top of the Federalist Party steps in and helps Thomas Jefferson become president. One of his biggest enemies wants him to win. Why? But regardless, Thomas Jefferson's president now. Now, to make sure that we don't have this issue in the future, they add the 12th Amendment. The 12th Amendment basically makes sure that you don't have ties in the Electoral College nearly as often. Can they happen? Yeah. But now, when they vote for president, the elector actually has a vote for vice president. So it's not two people for president, it's one for president, one for vice. So if you're voting for a Democratic Republican, your vice president, you're also voting for his buddy, the other Democratic Republican. So, solves the problem. So, now Thomas Jefferson is president, and he has two main goals he wants to accomplish as president. One, he wants to shrink the size of the federal government. That's the whole Democratic Republican approach is less of a government is better for everybody. So, they want the states to have more power. Federalists want a strong federal government. So he wants to cut that back. He also wants to cut back the military. John Adams has just ramped it up, built a big navy. The armed forces was just a pretty big standing army now. And Thomas Jefferson wanted to just back off on that. Now, if you remember from a long time ago, we had the French and Indian War, and France lost, and they lost all of their land in North America. And part of the land they lost was Louisiana. And we gave it to Spain, but Spain promised to never, ever give it back to France. Well, they do it. They're going to give it to Napoleon, the leader of France, and they have a secret treaty with him, and basically they want to make sure he doesn't try to take them over, because he likes to take over neighboring countries. So, they're protected, but now we have the problem of France owning land next to us. We don't really want this. So, we go to make a deal. We want to buy a port city of New Orleans, which you know is crucial with our trade from the backcountry all the way over to the other side of the Appalachian Mountains. So we want to just buy the city. And President Jefferson sends James Monroe, who will later become our 5th president, to go and make this treaty. So he's going to go and purchase it from them. He is allowed to offer $2 million for it. But Jefferson tells him, if you need to, you can go up to $10 million. So quite a bit more. Well, of course, Napoleon doesn't know this. And he actually goes above and beyond and says, oh, you give me 2 for the city? I'll make you the mega deal of the millennium. How about you get New Orleans and all of Louisiana for $15 million? Remember, we're willing to pay 10 for a city. They want to give us Louisiana and that for 15, right? Well, he doesn't really have permission to do this, but can you say no to that? No, you can't. So he does it. He says, absolutely, yeah, we'll pay $15 million for it. Don't know if that's constitutional or not, but we'll do it anyway. And so he does. And Thomas Jefferson gets some flack for this. He's a Democratic Republican, small government, small military, and you just bought a third of the continent, and you're going to rule it by military governors, and you want a small military. It doesn't quite match up. In the Constitution, it doesn't say you can buy land from other countries. So you would need a loose interpretation of the Constitution to do this. And who buys it? The guy who believes in the strict interpretation. So, ironic. Hey, just a hint. If you want to know about Lewis and Clark, we're going to talk about it in class. All right, now we're going to move on to North Africa. Kind of a weird place to go now, isn't it? Well, we're going to talk about some pirates that are hanging out up there called the Barbary Pirates. These pirates come from lots of little nations that what they do is they go to a country and say, hey, there are a lot of pirates around here, and you would not want them stealing your stuff, right? Well, if you give us a little money, some tribute, then we'll make sure no one messes with your stuff. Well, what happens if you don't pay them tribute? They steal your stuff. Ironic. The U.S. hadn't been paying them, and in the past they would just steal our ships and ransom our people who we couldn't afford to pay the ransom for, and they would just do whatever with them then. Well, now we have money, we've been paying tribute, and we don't have those issues anymore. Except one of those little places, Tripoli, decides, you know what, the U.S. is up and coming, it's got some more money, let's ask them to up that tribute a little bit. And we say, no, we're paying you enough, we're not paying you any more than that. And they get mad and they end up declaring war on the United States. Right. Now remember, we never had a Navy before, but thanks to John Adams, father of the Navy, we do have one now. So what we do is we surround it. We surround Tripoli. We call that a blockade. It's a siege by water. That's pretty much what a blockade is. We surround them, and they can't do anything now. We have a couple little battles, some boats get messed up, and things happen. But by the end of it, we win. The thing is, we never actually declared war, which is just kind of interesting. Remember, Congress declares war. I think I've said that enough that you should be getting the point by now. But we win, and Tripoli decides, yeah, you don't have to pay us any tribute anymore. But we still pay it to the other pirates. All right, now we're going to move over to Europe. This is going to be a big surprise to you, but England and France are fighting a war. What's new, right? Well, in this war, we pledge neutrality. That means we're not going to fight for either side. All we're going to do is just trade with both sides. If you imagine, this is going to make both people mad, right? It's like if your friends are having an argument and you say, oh yeah, dude, I totally support you, and I totally support you too, all right? You look bad to both sides. And so both sides decide to start doing things to us. They both steal our ships, like they had been doing before, and now England continues to impress our sailors, which remember, that means they're kidnapping them and forcing them to serve in their military. So, well, what do you do now? Are you going to declare war on two countries? You're going to declare war on one? What are you going to do? Well, TJ decides he's going to make the Embargo Act. And an embargo, you need to know this, hint, an embargo is where you cut off trade with somebody. Well, this Embargo Act said, we're cutting off trade with everybody. All right? So we're not going to trade with anyone. We're just going to be in our own little area and isolate from the rest of the world. All right? Because that's a great idea when you're trying to build up your economy. It's just to cut off from the world. Well, it didn't go so well. It crippled our economy. Our trade ceased throughout the world. We were cut off to places like South America as well because we just cut off all trade. And then you have countries like England and France who think, oh, new markets are opened up. They go down there and they start selling to them. So it's just making everything worse for us. So it didn't do anything good. This is the one thing that really was not good for TJ. Everything else was pretty good. This was a low point. So that's the Embargo Act.